I got that.
Hi guys, it's Nick with the Whip Shop, and on today's tutorial I want to show you a very simple pattern. This pattern is perhaps so simple that this video is on the borderline of being unnecessary, but I wanted to make it anyway. This is a two-tone pattern. The two colors that we're using for this particular whip are gold and a really cool bluish color called acid blue is the name of the parachute cord if you're wanting to replicate the exact colors that we're using in this video. This pattern is really, it's kind of unique because it's almost a spiral pattern. The two highlight colors spiral around the whip all the way to the fall hitch. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and learn something new. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button. You simply take the two longest strands of the overlay and half of those strands are one color and the other half is another color. The two longest strands of the overlay. All the other strands are solid colors. So here are the strand lengths needed for a 8-foot bullwhip. You don't have to obviously just use this method with an 8-foot whip. You can do any length of whip you want. Also, in case you didn't notice, we're shooting with a brand new lens today. This is a Canon 10 to 18 millimeters. The Canon lens is at 10 millimeters right now, and just look at how much we can fit into the frame. I think this is going to make tutorials a lot better. Tying these on is going to be very simple. All we do is we take the two longest strands and then we're going to grab two other random strands. Doesn't matter which ones we grab. I don't even know which ones these are. So obviously 4 and 4. I'm going to set these aside for a minute. Just going to set them down here. Going to take these around the back, just like we've always done, like that. Make sure your blue is at the bottom and the gold is at the top, or whatever colors you're choosing to use. Now we're going to grab our other strands that we set aside. Find the ends. We have the middles marked. Make sure that you have the middles of your strands marked if you're just going to let go of the middles. Tie them in a knot or something. In my case, I've singed the middles so I know where they are. Okay? So here's all the ends of the strands. Just like we've done in every other whip tutorial, we're going to make sure that the middles are on the back. Slide this up to where it should be. Open up the eye here. And slide. It's a little unnecessarily bright. We're going to slide these right through. Once they're in, we can snug this up again, like that. Make sure it's nice and snug. Now we can pull these through in the middle. Once we get to the middle, we'll stop. Like I said, I've singed the middles so I know where they are, and it's stopping me. There's resistance there. Next strand coming through, and as you can see, the singed part right here stopping me to indicate the middle. Next strand. Looks like the middle, but it's not. It's just getting a little bit tangled there. Here it comes. There it is. Snugging it down a little more. Here's our last strand to find the middle. 2, 3, 4. There it is. Alright. So before you start plating, I just recommend, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm just kind of untangling things, getting the strands kind of on their own sides. Otherwise, paracord loves to get tangled. Some of my fanciest knots are just by throwing paracord in a bucket and taking it out weeks later. It's just spontaneous knot tying. It's pretty frustrating, actually. So anyways, let's start plating here. This particular customer wants a diamond plait handle. On the left, we're going to go under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2. I really like the way that that gold is bringing out the contrast of the blue. It's really nice. I like it. And our other side. Under 2, over 2. Make sure that we're going under both of those blues. Now I should mention, the two blue strands will be touching each other. They'll be side by side for the entire whip, all the way down to the fall hitch. If at any time there comes a gold strand in between those two blue strands, separating them so that they're not touching, something went wrong. So you need to back up and see where you accidentally inserted a strand between the two blue strands. So here's a look at some of the plating going on. You can see the pattern is taking shape. Still going under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2 to maintain that 2-strand 16 flat diamond handle. See that? It's looking pretty good. And I'm just going to keep doing this diamond pattern all the way down, and I will pick up with you guys there at the transition. So here's a quick look at our handle. We plated it all the way down, and it's time to transition into the herringbone pattern. Nothing special about this whatsoever. We're just going to do it like we always do it. Top left strand around the back, under 4, over 4. Right side, starting with our 1 strand here, one of our blue strands, under 4, over 4. Left again, under 4, over 4. And here comes the other inseparable blue strand to the other one. And we're literally just doing this all the way down to the end of the whip. Make sure that you always have the two blues touching. And that's it, guys. Okay, so the pattern is really starting to come alive now. We're about 6 inches into the herringbone. Getting ready to drop this little strand here. That's the pattern. Now we're going to drop a strand. With this pattern, you don't have to drop 2 strands at the same time. You can do one at a time. That's what we're going to do. Here's the strand that we're dropping. One last pull. I'm just going to sneak it right underneath these 2 strands here. Like this. Ease it to the middle. Keep on plating. Now we're going under 4, over 3. Yes. And that strand is dropped. You'll never drop these blue strands, ever. There we go. Tighten these down a little bit. And that looks like there's enough coverage there so where we can safely cut that strand. Wow, what a sloppy cut. No harm done. We're going to melt the tip, like we always do. Press it into the belly underneath. Really love that method. Alright, I'm going to drop the left strand and keep on going. Under 4/3. As you can see, the pattern is still looking good. We are currently at a 12 plat, getting ready to drop down to a 10 plat. Got a few feet to go here on this whip. We are now an 8 plat, continuing to drop strands as I get lower and lower towards the end. It's time to tie a 4-point fall hitch. Notice that my 2 blue strands have remained side by side to the very end here. Also, if you might have noticed, I'm actually cutting the sinker cord about 1 foot short and just using the last drop strand as the core, just so I can get a finer point here. I have a fall prepared here, a nice gold fall. Close up the eye. So I just tied the fall hitch on, gave it a nice roll. All that's left now is to tie the heel and transition knots. And this whip will be ready to go. Getting ready to wrap this leather strip around, which will become the heel knot foundation. The length of this is going to be 3 1/8 of an inch, and the width is going to be 7/8 of an inch. It'd be 1 inch if I wasn't using the spiral, which will add another tiny measurement to the height of the knot. This is the measurement you want if you're doing 2 plated bellies and an overlay with 1/4-inch steel rod. This is what you'll want. Foundation is in place. The nails have been put in to keep it from moving, and I wrapped it with 1 layer of hockey tape here just to cover up those sharp nail ends. We're going to put our spiral on the end. Got our little pinwheel of parachute cord here. We're going to glue it right onto the heel. Make sure I coat the whole surface with the glue. Just clip that right off like that. With the lighter. Get it to catch fire. Press it right in and just melt it onto itself. And that's as easy as that. Now we're ready to tie the knot. Careful. I have a video on how to tie these knots, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Please refer to those videos if you don't know how to tie a knot such as this. That is a 5x4 Turkside knot, and we're getting ready to expand it to a 6x7. Okay, we have our second color fused right on there. As you can see, the part that's fused together will be slipped right underneath one of the strands. Now sometimes when there's 2 different colors like this, it is very, very difficult to get them fused together. These are the two dyes do not like to be fused together. They almost act as a repellent from one another. So melt it on as best you can. Really let it dry before you go pulling on this to finish your knot. If you take a look, the knot is starting to take shape. It's filling in quite nicely. I only have a few passes left, and it'll be time to snip off the excess, give it a roll, and the heel knot will be finished. This wasn't really intended to be a knot tying tutorial, but since it's kind of a shorter one, I figured I would include some footage of me tying this knot in hopes that it might help you guys out. here's the final lap. Looking good there. Whenever I have, for example, here we have a blue spiral, I like to include, I like to have it set up so that the second pass matches the spiral. See that? It just gives it a really cool, like a hurricane looking pattern, a vortex. I like these two colors to match here, and the inner strand is the separate color. All right. Last couple of strands to go under. Here's the final step. Right where we started. Finish off those strands. Eliminate some gaps here by, notice what I'm doing, I'm kind of pushing the strands to expose this cylinder, or the spiral. See, I'm just pushing those strands down like that. And that's going to fill in those spaces, those gaps on the sides, and at the same time it's going to be exposing more of your ring here, or of your disc, if you choose to do the disc of parachute cord, which I quite enjoy. It's time to cut off the excess. One last pull. One last pull. And lighter. Boy, does that thing focus nice. Still can't get over this new lens, guys. I'm really pleased with it. I should have picked one of these up a while ago. Okay, this knot is just about complete. We're going to give it a roll over here on the floor. And it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. Just gave it a nice roll. And that knot is finished. 2-pass 6x7. Have here my transition knot foundation. And this time I'm going to go ahead and finish off this transition with a nice solid acid blue. There's the first pass, getting ready to do a second pass to complete this whip. And there we have the 2 knots completed. This whip is finished. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys learned something new and enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. As always, if you have any recommendations for more video tutorials, drop a comment. I'll see you in the next one.